Adoption day, dozens of families, balloons, paperwork, hope, and one golden-colored rescue dog who won't move toward anyone. I'm standing by the back fence with a clipboard in my hand, watching this whole thing unfold. And Luna, this beautiful rescue everyone's been waiting for. She's just sitting there in the middle of the yard, frozen. Not scared, not confused. Just waiting. This doesn't happen. I volunteered here for 6 months. I've seen hundreds of dogs leave this place. They run, they jump, they drag their new families toward the parking lot like freedom is the only thing that matters. But not her. She's planted on that grass, scanning faces, and every single person who kneels down and calls her name gets the same response. Nothing. She backs away. Then she sits back down. And my chest starts tightening because I can feel something slipping, something none of us planned for. Kimberly, our shelter director, she's whispering to Margaret near the gate. Families are starting to murmur. Children are asking why the pretty dog won't come. Amber has her camera out, but she's not filming anymore. She's just watching. Luna's not looking at any of them. Her ears are pinned back. Her brown eyes are locked on something past the crowd, like she's searching, like she's waiting for someone who isn't here. I pull my hands into my pockets because they've started shaking. This was supposed to be the breakthrough event, the feel-good story. Dogs choose their humans was going to prove that connection matters more than convenience, that love is a two-way street, that rescue isn't about saving, it's about recognizing. But Luna isn't playing along. And the way she keeps staring past everyone, the way she refuses every open hand, every gentle voice, every promise of home, it's breaking something open inside me. Then it happens. Luna stands up, slowly. Her whole body tenses, and she starts walking, not toward the families, not toward the adoption tent, but toward the back fence. Toward me. I'm not even participating. I'm off duty. I'm holding paperwork. I didn't sign up for this. But she's walking straight toward me like I'm the only person in this entire yard who matters. And when she reaches the gate, she presses her entire body against the chain link, her golden fur pushing through the gaps, and she makes this sound. Not a bark, not a whine. Something deeper. Something that sounds like her whole heart is trying to tell me something I'm not ready to hear. My hands won't stop shaking. I can't, I whisper. Luna doesn't move. And I know right then I have to make a choice. Walk away from whatever she's asking for or step into something I've been running from for 6 months. Something that feels too much like forever. Something that feels too much like staying. I look at Kimberly, then at Luna, then at the crowd of people still waiting, still hoping. And I realize Luna isn't confused. She's being loyal to something. And whatever it is, it's strong enough to make her refuse everything this adoption day is offering. Before we get deep into the story, please let me know in the comments where you are watching from. Hit the subscribe button and ready to enjoy this story, because tomorrow I have another beautiful story to share with you, and I don't want you to miss it for anything. I kneel down next to the gate, and Luna's trembling all over. Not from fear, from something deeper. Her brown eyes keep darting between me and the shelter entrance. Like she's trying to tell me something. Like she's begging me to understand. Luna, I whisper. I didn't come here for this. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. I came here 6 months ago for a reason, and it wasn't about the dogs. 6 months earlier, I was sitting in my car outside this same shelter at 9 p.m., hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to decide if I should go inside or drive home. My mother had been dead for 2 weeks. The funeral was over. The house was sold. Everyone kept saying I needed to process and take time and be gentle with myself. But I didn't know how to do any of that. I just knew I couldn't go back to my apartment. Couldn't sit in that silence. Couldn't keep pretending I was fine. So I Googled volunteer opportunities near me at 2 a.m. one night when I couldn't sleep, and Riverside Animal Shelter popped up first. I wasn't looking for a dog. I was looking for somewhere to go where no one would ask me how I was doing, somewhere I could be useful without having to explain why I needed to be. The application was simple. Background check. 2 references. Orientation on Saturday mornings. I filled it out before I could change my mind, and 3 days later, I got an email. Welcome to the team. I thought it would be temporary, just something to fill the hours, just something that didn't require me to stay. But then I met Luna. The shelter orientation room smelled like disinfectant and coffee. It was 3 weeks before adoption day, and Kimberly stood at the front with a laptop and a hopeful smile. "What if we let the dogs choose?" she said. Margaret looked up from her paperwork. Barbara stopped mid-sip of her coffee. I was sitting in the back row, half listening, still new enough that I didn't feel like I had a right to speak up. "Choose what?" Margaret asked. "They're people," Kimberly said. On adoption day, instead of families walking through kennels and picking dogs, we open the gates and let the dogs walk to whoever they want. The room went quiet. "You want to let dogs decide their own adoptions?" Barbara said slowly. "Yes." "That's insane," Margaret said, but she was smiling a little, the kind of smile that meant she was already considering it. Kimberly clicked to the next slide. There was a photo of a dog running toward a little girl, mid-leap, ears flying. "I saw this at a shelter in Portland last year. They called it Connection Day. The dogs who participated had a 92% retention rate. 92%, because the bond was mutual from the start." "And the other 8%, Barbara asked. "Didn't choose anyone, went back to their kennels. But they weren't forced into homes that weren't right." Amber, our social media coordinator, was already filming on her phone. "This is perfect," she said. "People will love this." Margaret leaned back in her chair. What if a dog chooses someone who isn't a good fit? What if they choose a kid who can't handle them? What if they choose nobody? "Then we trust them," Kimberly said. "Dogs know things we don't. They can sense energy, intention, safety. If we really believe adoption is about connection, then we have to be willing to let connection lead." I watched Kimberly's face. She believed this, fully, and something about that belief made my throat tighten. Dawn, our intake coordinator, was already making notes. We'd need waivers, rules, clear boundaries. "Absolutely," Kimberly said. "No calling dogs. No treats. No coaxing. Families sit or stand. Dogs walk freely. If a dog approaches someone, that's when we start the conversation." "What about the volunteers?" I asked. My voice came out quieter than I meant it to. Kimberly looked at me. "Volunteers manage the gates, monitor behavior, stay out of the way. Your staff, not participants." I nodded. That felt safer. 3 weeks later, adoption day arrived. The shelter yard was transformed. Balloons tied to fence posts. Volunteers in matching blue shirts. Families spread out across the grass, some sitting on blankets, some standing with hopeful expressions. Dawn had checked everyone in at the front desk. Margaret was stationed at the main gate. Amber was everywhere with her camera, capturing every moment. And the dogs were ready. When Kimberly gave the signal, Margaret opened the first gate. A black lab named Duke shot out like a rocket, headed straight for a family with 2 boys. The kids started laughing, and Duke knocked them both over, licking faces, tail whipping so hard his whole body wagged. "That's a match," Margaret said, grinning. A beagle named Penny trotted out next. She sniffed 3 people, circled an elderly man twice, then sat down directly on his feet. The man started crying. One by one, dogs made their choices. Some fast, some slow, but they chose. Amber was filming everything. "This is incredible," she whispered. I stood by the back fence with my clipboard, checking names off, monitoring the flow. I was supposed to be observing, documenting, staying professional. But I kept watching Luna. She was in the 3rd group released. Kimberly had saved her for later because Luna was cautious, needed time to adjust, needed the yard to calm down a bit before she felt safe. When Margaret opened Luna's gate, she stepped out slowly. She didn't run. She walked into the center of the yard and stopped. A family with a little girl approached. The girl knelt down. "Hi, pretty dog," she said softly. Luna sniffed her hand, licked it once, then backed away. "It's okay," the father said. "She's just nervous." But Luna wasn't nervous. I could see it from where I stood. Her ears weren't flat. Her tail wasn't tucked. She was calm, observing. She approached another family, sniffed, backed away. Then another. Same thing. Kimberly was watching too. "Give her time," she said quietly. But as the minutes passed, as family after family knelt and called and waited, Luna kept doing the same thing. She'd walk close, investigate, then retreat. Not fearfully, not aggressively. Deliberately. She wasn't looking at people. She was scanning past them. Something in my chest tightened. "Why isn't she choosing anyone?" Amber asked. "I don't know," Kimberly said, and for the first time all day she sounded uncertain. Luna sat down in the middle of the yard. Families were starting to look at each other, confused. Children were asking questions. And Luna's eyes swept across the crowd one more time. Then locked on me. My hands went cold. She stood up and started walking. I wasn't supposed to be here long enough to matter. That's what I told myself the first day I walked into this shelter, 6 months ago, 2 weeks after the funeral. 3 days after I signed the papers selling my childhood home to a family with twin boys who'd never known my mother planted those rose bushes. Never knew she died in the upstairs bedroom while I was 400 miles away at a conference I didn't even want to attend. The realtor said it was better this way. Clean break. Fresh start. But there's nothing clean about losing the last place that knew your whole history. I went back to my apartment, a 1-bedroom in Culver City that I'd been renting for 3 years but never decorated because I always thought I'd move somewhere better eventually, and I sat on the couch for 6 hours straight. Didn't turn on the TV. Didn't eat. Just sat there feeling like I'd been hollowed out. My phone kept buzzing, friends checking in, coworkers asking if I needed anything. I didn't answer. What was I supposed to say? That I felt like I'd made the wrong choice my entire adult life. That I'd chosen career over closeness, distance over discomfort, and now the one person who knew me before I became this version of myself was gone. The shelter application was something I filled out at 2 in the morning because I couldn't sleep and needed to feel useful. Needed somewhere to go where grief wasn't the first thing people saw when they looked at me. I never planned to adopt. Adoption meant permanence, meant choosing to stay, meant risking that same gut-wrenching loss all over again. I had a dog growing up, Unnie, a golden retriever my mother loved more than most people. When I left for college, Honey was 12. When I graduated, she was 14. I visited twice that year. Twice. And the second time, Honey didn't recognize me. Just looked at me like I was a stranger who smelled vaguely familiar. She died 3 months later. My mother called to tell me, and I heard something in her voice I'd never heard before. Disappointment. Not that Honey died, that I hadn't been there enough to matter. She kept looking for you at the door, my mother said quietly, even at the end. I never got another dog. Never let myself want something that could teach me, again, that I was the kind of person who left. But then I met Luna. 3 months into volunteering. She'd just arrived. Surrender case. The owner is deceased. The intake form said she'd been found sitting by the front door for 2 days before animal control picked her up. I was restocking food bowls when I saw her in the quarantine kennel. Golden fur, brown eyes, the same soft, knowing look Honey used to have. I froze. Luna tilted her head, watched me, didn't bark, didn't whine, just saw me. And I felt something crack open inside my chest, something I'd been keeping numb for months. I walked to her kennel, knelt down. "Hey, girl," I whispered. Luna came to the front of the cage and pressed her nose through the bars. I let her sniff my hand. Her eyes never left mine. She looked like Honey. Not exactly, but enough. Enough to remind me what I'd been running from. I stood up fast, walked away before anyone noticed I was shaking. And I told myself, don't get attached. You're not staying. You never stay. But here we are. Adoption day. And Luna's walking straight toward me like I'm the one thing in this entire yard worth choosing. My hands won't stop trembling. Because I know what happens when I choose wrong. I know what it feels like to be too late. And I don't know if I can survive learning that lesson again. Luna reaches the fence and stops. She presses her whole body against the chain link, golden fur pushing through the gaps, eyes locked on mine. She makes that sound again, the one that isn't a bark or a whine, the one that sounds like her entire heart is trying to speak. The yard goes quiet. Every family still waiting, every volunteer still watching. "Erica," Kimberly says softly, "she's choosing you." No, the word comes out harder than I mean it to. I didn't sign up for this. I know, but I'm a volunteer. My voice is shaking. I'm staff. This isn't how it's supposed to work. Kimberly walks toward me slowly, like approaching something fragile. We said the dogs choose, she's choosing. Then she's choosing wrong. The words hang in the air. A little girl near the front starts crying. "Why doesn't she want us?" she asks her mother. Luna doesn't even turn around. Her eyes stay fixed on me. Margaret walks over, her expression unreadable. "We could reset," she says quietly to Kimberly. "Take Luna back to her kennel. Let her try again later." "No," Dawn says. "She's been watching from the intake table. Look at her body language. She's not confused. She's certain." "She can't be certain about me," I say. My hands are shaking so hard I drop the clipboard. I'm not ready for this." Kimberly crouches down to pick it up. When she stands, her eyes are gentle. "None of this was about being ready, Erica. It was about connection." Well, she's wrong about the connection. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. Luna hasn't moved, hasn't looked away. Families are starting to gather their things. A father is explaining to his two boys that maybe the pretty dog wasn't meant for them. The boys look heartbroken. Amber lowers her camera. I can't do this, I say. I take a step back from the fence, then another. I can't. Kimberly nods slowly. Okay, that's okay. But it doesn't feel okay. Margaret opens the gate. Come on, Luna, let's go back inside. Luna doesn't move. Margaret tries again, softer. Luna. Come. Nothing. Barbara walks over with a leash. I'll take her. Luna sits down, right there at the fence, watching me back away. The energy in the yard shifts. The excitement, the hope, the joyful chaos. It's gone. What's left feels heavier. Sacred, almost. People aren't just watching anymore. They're witnessing something. A volunteer I don't know well whispers she's waiting. For what? Someone else asks. For Erica to stop running. My chest tightens. I take another step back, and Luna's ears drop. Not in fear, in something worse. Sadness. Like she understands exactly what I'm doing. Like she's been left before. A family starts walking toward the parking lot. Then another. Children are asking why the dog is crying. Parents are promising they'll come back another day. Maybe the dog will feel better then. Kimberly is still standing near the fence, watching me. Not with judgment, with something softer. Understanding, maybe. You don't have to decide right now, she says. But that's the problem. I've already decided. I've been deciding for 6 months. Every time I walked past Luna's kennel without stopping. Every time I told myself I was just here temporarily. Every time I convinced myself that not choosing was safer than choosing wrong. Luna stands up, takes one step toward the gate, then stops. She's giving me space. She's giving me a choice. And I don't know which terrifies me more, that she's willing to wait or that I'm willing to leave. I need a minute, I say. Kimberly nods. Take all the time you need. But time isn't the problem. The problem is that Luna is looking at me the same way Honey used to. The same way my mother's voice sounded on the phone that last time. Like she knows I'm the kind of person who leaves. And she's choosing me anyway. I'm standing near the supply shed, hands pressed against the metal siding, trying to breathe when I hear Barbara's voice. Pull her file. I turn slightly. Barbara and Dawn are by the intake table, heads close together. Which one? Dawn asks. Luna's. The full one. Not the public profile. There's a pause. The sound of a filing cabinet opening. Papers shuffling. Jesus, Dawn says softly. What? She's been here 6 months. But before that, Dawn's voice drops. 2 adoptions. Both failed. I shouldn't be listening, I should walk away, but my feet won't move. Barbara leans in. Failed how? First family returned her after 3 weeks. Said she was too attached. Wouldn't leave the wife's side. Followed her everywhere. Cried when she left for work. And the second? Lasted 5 days. Said Luna wouldn't bond with the whole family. She chose one person, the teenage daughter, and ignored everyone else. They wanted a family dog. Not. Dawn trails off. Not a dog who knows what she wants, Barbara finishes. There's a long silence. Then Dawn says, there's something else. What? Luna's original owner. She didn't surrender her. She died. My chest tightens. How? Barbara asks. Heart attack. Suddenly. Luna was found 2 days later by a neighbor who heard barking. Dawn's voice gets quieter. She was sitting by the front door. Wouldn't move. Wouldn't eat. Animal control said she'd lost weight. Dehydrated. But she wouldn't leave. She was waiting, Barbara says. Yeah, Dawn pauses. But there's something in the notes, from the paramedic who responded. What'd it say? When they arrived, the owner was already gone. But Luna was lying next to her on the floor. And the neighbor, she was there when it happened, said she heard the owner talking to Luna before she lost consciousness. Talking? Whispering something. Over and over. Dawn's voice cracks slightly. The neighbor couldn't make out all of it, but she heard one thing clearly. I stopped breathing. If I don't wake up, you choose someone good. The world tilts. Barbara lets out a long breath. Oh my God. Luna was guarding the body when animal control arrived. Wouldn't let anyone near. They had to sedate her to move her. She wasn't guarding, Barbara says. She was keeping a promise. My hands are shaking against the metal shed. I press harder, trying to steady myself. That's why she won't just go with anyone, Dawn says. She's not being difficult. She's being loyal. To a dead woman. To a promise. I slide down the wall and sit in the dirt. My vision blurs. Luna's owner died suddenly. Luna waited by the door. Luna was told to choose someone good. And now she's chosen me. I think about my mother, how I wasn't there, how I was at a conference, checking emails, drinking mediocre coffee in a hotel lobby while she died alone in the house I grew up in. How Honey waited by the door for me too. How I never came. I press my palms into my eyes. Luna isn't broken. She's doing exactly what she was asked to do. She's keeping a promise to someone who loved her enough to let her go. And she looked at every person in that yard today, every family, every open hand, every hopeful face, and said no. Until me. Someone who wasn't even trying. Someone who's been running from this exact moment for 6 months. Someone who knows what it feels like to be too late. Kimberly's voice drifts over from the yard. Erica, you okay? I stand up slowly. My legs feel unsteady. When I round the corner, Luna is still sitting at the fence. Still waiting. And I realize something that makes my throat close up. She's not waiting for me to be ready. She's waiting to see if I'm good. I walk toward the parking lot. Not running, not dramatic, just walking, one foot in front of the other, past the fence, past the family still lingering, past Kimberly who opens her mouth to say something but doesn't. I have reasons. Good ones. My apartment lease is month to month. I don't even know if I'll stay in LA. My job is remote. I could move anywhere. I've been thinking about it, actually. Maybe San Diego, maybe Portland. Somewhere that doesn't remind me of everything I've lost. A dog needs stability. A dog needs someone who's sure. And I'm not sure about anything anymore. Not where I'll be in 6 months. Not whether I can handle waking up every morning to something that depends on me. Not whether I'm capable of being the kind of person who stays when things get hard. I reach my car. A gray Honda Civic I've had for 8 years. Reliable. Practical. Exactly the kind of choice someone makes when they don't want anything that requires too much. I open the door. Behind me, I hear movement. I turn. Luna is sitting directly in the middle of the parking lot. Not at the fence anymore, not in the yard. She followed me. And now she's blocking my path. Luna, go back, I say. She doesn't move. I can't do this. Her ears drop, but she stays planted. The shelter yard has gone completely quiet. No one's talking anymore. No one's moving. Even the dogs have stopped barking. Everyone is watching. Not with judgment, with something else. Reverence, maybe. Or recognition. I look at Luna, really look, and I see it now. The way her whole body is trembling, not from cold, not from fear, from hope. She's risking everything right now. She waited 6 months in that shelter. She refused 2 families who wanted her. She sat by that fence watching person after person walk away. She kept a promise to someone who's gone. And now she's sitting in this parking lot choosing me. Someone who can't even promise to stay in the same city. My throat closes up. You don't understand, I say. My voice cracks. I don't know how to be what you need. Luna tilts her head. And suddenly I realize what I'm doing. I'm making the same choice I made with my mother, the same choice I made with Honey, the same choice I've been making my entire adult life. I'm leaving before I can be left. I'm walking away before I have to feel what it's like to stay. I'm choosing safety over risk, distance over pain, and calling it practical. But Luna's not buying it. She's sitting in the dirt of this parking lot, staring at me with those brown eyes that look too much like Honey's, too much like grief, too much like a second chance I don't deserve. And she's saying, I chose you anyway. I lean against my car. My hands are shaking so hard I can barely hold the keys. Kimberly walks over slowly, stops a few feet away. You don't have to do this, she says gently. I know. But saying no is also a choice, Erica. I close my eyes. She's right. Walking away is a choice. Staying numb is a choice. Convincing myself I'm protecting Luna or myself by refusing this, that's a choice too. And it's the same choice that left my mother alone. The same choice that made Honey stop recognizing me. The same choice that turned me into someone who volunteers at shelters but never adopts, who helps but never stays, who loves from a distance because distance feels safer. Luna's still sitting there. Still waiting. Not demanding, not forcing. Just present. Offering me something I've been too scared to accept for 6 months. A reason to stay. I drop my keys in the dirt. And I walk toward her. I kneel in the parking lot dirt. Not carefully, not gracefully. My knees hit the ground hard enough that I'll have bruises tomorrow, but I don't care. Luna's ears perk up. She stands slowly, takes one step toward me, then another. She's cautious now, like she's afraid I'll change my mind, like she's been hurt by hope before. I'm here, I whisper. I'm right here. Luna closes the distance between us. She stops inches away, her golden face level with mine. Her brown eyes search my face like she's memorizing it, like she's making sure. Then she presses her forehead into my chest. And I break. Not quietly. Not the polite kind of crying you do in public. This is the kind that empties you out. The kind that's been building for 6 months, maybe longer. The kind that sounds like grief and relief and terror all mixed together. I wrap my arms around her, and she leans into me, solid and warm and real. I don't know if I can do it forever, I say into her fur. My voice is shaking. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'll get it right. Luna doesn't pull away. She presses closer. And I realize that's the answer. She's not asking me to be perfect. She's not asking me to have it all figured out. She's just asking me to be here, to choose her the way she's choosing me. To stay. My hands are buried in her fur and I can feel her heartbeat, steady, certain. She's not afraid. So maybe I don't have to be either. I don't know how long we stay like that. Time feels strange, stretched out and condensed all at once. When I finally lift my head, Kimberly is standing a few feet away. Her eyes are red. "You're sure?" she asks softly. I look at Luna. She's still pressed against me, her whole body relaxed in a way I've never seen before. "Yeah," I say, "I'm sure." Kimberly kneels down and hugs me. Not a professional hug, a real one, the kind that says I understand. When she pulls back, Barbara is there too. Tears stream down her face. She doesn't say anything, just reaches out and squeezes my shoulder. Margaret walks over slowly. She doesn't cry. Don't hug. Just nod once. A single, firm nod that somehow means more than words. Amber is standing by the fence with her camera lowered. She's smiling, but not filming. Some moments aren't meant to be captured. They're meant to be felt. The paperwork happens slowly. Dawn brings it out to the parking lot. We sit on the curb, me, Luna, Kimberly, and go through it line by line. Name, address, emergency contact. It should feel procedural, businesslike. But it doesn't. It feels ceremonial, like signing a promise. When I get to the line that says adopter's signature, my hand hovers over the page. This is it. The moment where I stop running. I glance at Luna. She's sitting next to me, calm and steady. Her brown eyes meet mine. And I signed. My handwriting is messier than usual because my hands are still shaking, but it's there, permanent. Dawn countersigns, then Kimberly. "She's yours," Kimberly says quietly. I look at Luna. "No," I say, "we're each other's." Barbara brings out a new collar. Blue with a small silver tag that has my phone number engraved on it. She fastens it around Luna's neck gently. "There," she says. "Official." Margaret hands me a leash. "She doesn't pull," she says. "She'll walk right next to you." I clip the leash to Luna's collar, stand up slowly. Luna stands with me. We start walking toward my car, not fast, not rushing. Just steady. The families who stayed start clapping. Soft at first, then louder. Children are smiling. Parents are wiping their eyes. This wasn't the story they came for. But it's the one they got. When we reach my car, I open the back door. Luna hops in without hesitation, circles once, lies down. Like she's been doing this her whole life. Like she always knew this was coming. I close the door, stand there for a moment. My reflection in the window shows someone I barely recognize. Someone who stayed. The drive home is quiet. Luna sits in the back seat, looking out the window, not panting, not whining, just watching Los Angeles roll by like she's studying it, learning her new geography. I keep glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting her to disappear, to realize this was all a mistake, that I'm not who she thought I was. But she's still there. Real, solid, mine. My apartment is in Culver City. 3rd floor. 1 bedroom. Beige carpet I've always hated, but never bothered to change, because I told myself I wasn't staying long enough for it to matter. I unlock the door and push it open. Luna steps inside slowly. Her nails click against the hardwood entryway. She sniffs the air, then the corner of the couch, then the kitchen baseboard. I set down the bag of supplies Barbara sent me home with: food, bowls, a blanket that smells like a shelter. This is it, I say. My voice sounds too loud in the small space. It's not much, but it's home. The word catches in my throat. Home. I haven't called anywhere in 6 months. Luna finishes her inspection of the living room. She walks down the short hallway, pauses at the bathroom door, then continues to my bedroom. I follow. She stands in the doorway, looking in but not entering, like she's asking permission. You can go in, I say. She steps inside, sniffs the bed, the nightstand, the pile of laundry I haven't put away yet. Then she walks back out into the hallway and lies down directly in front of my bedroom door. Luna, you can sleep on the bed if you want, or the couch. You don't have to. She rests her head on her paws. She's not moving. And suddenly I understand. She's not guarding the room. She's guarding me. Making sure I don't leave in the middle of the night. Making sure I'm still here in the morning. My throat tightens. I changed into pajamas, brush my teeth, go through the motions of a normal evening that feels anything but normal. When I turn off the lights and climb into bed, Luna is still there in the hallway. I can see her silhouette in the darkness, the rise and fall of her breathing. I lie on my back, staring at the ceiling. This is what I was afraid of. Not the responsibility of feeding her or walking her or taking her to the vet. This. The weight of being chosen. The responsibility of mattering to something other than myself. I close my eyes and suddenly I hear my mother's voice. Not a memory exactly, more like an echo. Love isn't about being ready, Erica. It's about showing up. She said that to me once, years ago, when I was deciding whether to take the job in LA, whether to move away from home. I'd told her I wasn't ready. And she smiled. That sad, knowing smile she had. No one's ever ready, but you show up anyway. That's what makes it count. I didn't understand then. But I do now. Luna didn't choose me because I was ready. She chose me because she saw something in me worth risking everything for. She chose me because her person, the woman who whispered that final request, trusted Luna to know the difference between convenient and right. And Luna looked at every easy choice in that shelter yard and said no. Until she saw me. Someone broken, someone grieving, someone running from the exact thing she needed most. And she said, you. I get out of bed quietly, walk to the hallway, sit down next to Luna in the darkness. She lifts her head. Thank you, I whisper, for not giving up on me. Luna shifts slightly, rests her head on my leg. And for the first time in 6 months, I feel something other than numb. I feel chosen. Not in spite of my brokenness. Because of my capacity to heal. We sat there in the dark hallway of my small apartment. A woman who forgot how to stay. A dog who remembered how to wait. Both of us are learning what it means to be home. Not a place. A promise. I'm still scared. But Luna doesn't move. And that's enough. 3 weeks later, I'm making coffee when Luna walks into the kitchen and sits by the door. Not anxiously, not urgently. Just sit. Waits. Because she knows. Somehow, she knows it's Saturday, that Saturdays mean the shelter, that we go together now. You ready? I ask. She wags her tail once, certain. The routine formed slowly. Morning walks. Breakfast at 7. Work at the kitchen table with Luna asleep under my feet. Evenings on the couch, her head in my lap while I read or watch TV or just exist. Small things. Normal things. The kind of things I used to think were too ordinary to matter. But they do matter. Because they're the architecture of forever. Not the big moments, the quiet ones. The ones where you show up. At the shelter, Kimberly greets us at the door. How's she doing? Good, I say, and I mean it, really good. Luna trots past me, heading straight for the volunteer break room where Barbara keeps treats. She knows this place, but she's not looking for an escape anymore. She's just visiting. We're doing it again, Kimberly says. Next month. Another connection day. Yeah? Yeah, after Luna, she smiles. People want their dogs to choose. They get it now. It's not about convenience. It's about something deeper. Dawn walks over with a clipboard. We've had 6 adoptions in the past 3 weeks using the same model. 6 dogs who got to choose. And every single one of them is still in their homes. That's incredible, I say. One of them chose a guy who wasn't even there to adopt, Dawn continues. He was dropping off donations. Dog ran straight to him. Wouldn't leave his side. I smile. What'd he do? He cried. Then he filled out the paperwork. Margaret is in the yard with a terrier mix named Rocket. She waves when she sees me. Erica, come look at this. I walk over. Rocket is sitting calmly next to a teenage girl in a wheelchair. The girl is smiling, running her fingers through his wiry fur. He walked past 8 families. Margaret says quietly. Went straight to her. The girl looks up. I didn't think dogs liked me. I can't throw balls or run around with them. He doesn't care about that, Margaret says. He cares about you. The girl's mother is standing nearby, crying softly. We'll take him, she says, if that's what he wants. That's exactly what he wants, Margaret says. I find Luna in the yard. She's lying in the sun, watching the chaos of adoption day prep. Volunteers setting up. Families arriving. Dogs barking excitedly in their kennels. She's calm. Content. I sat down next to her in the grass. You started something, I told her. She looks at me with those brown eyes. The ones that saw through every excuse I made. Every reason I gave for running. And I realize she didn't save me. She recognized me. There's a difference. Saving implies I was drowning. But I wasn't drowning. I was hiding, convincing myself that avoiding pain meant avoiding loss. Luna didn't pull me out of anything. She just stood in front of me and said, I see you, and you're worth staying for. That's not a rescue. That's love. Later, at home, Luna does what she always does now. She goes to the door when she hears my key in the lock. Not because she's trying to escape, because she's waiting to greet me. When I walk in, she doesn't jump or bark, just wags her tail, presses her nose into my hand. Hey girl, I say. She follows me to the kitchen. Watch while I make dinner. lies by my feet while I eat. This is what forever looks like. Not a promise that nothing will ever hurt again. A promise to show up anyway. I look at Luna. She's already looking at me. I'm glad you chose me, I say. She rests her chin on my foot. And I understand now what her first owner knew. That love, real love, isn't about holding on. It's about trusting someone else to choose well. Luna's person whispered those final words because she knew Luna would understand what most humans spend their whole lives learning. That connection isn't about convenience. It's about recognition. And sometimes the right choice is the one that asks the most from you. The one that won't let you run. The one that sits in a parking lot and says, "Not this time." Luna's at the door now, not leaving. Just waiting. Because she knows I'll come home. And I will. Every single time. That's what forever means. Not certainty. Commitment.